Life is a script we often believe is already written, a story where the roles are assigned, the scenes predetermined, and the ending imagined long before the first act unfolds. But sometimes the universe, with all its quiet cruelty and unexpected grace, forces a rewrite. Suddenly the lines you thought you knew are erased. The scenes you expected to play out dissolve into chaos. The ending you envisioned fades into uncertainty, and you are left staring at blank pages, trembling hands hovering over the pen, wondering how to continue when everything familiar has been stripped away. The weight of unwritten destiny presses heavily on the chest, and the first instinct is panic. How do you move forward when the path you trusted no longer exists? How do you act when the roles you mastered are gone and you are cast into a story that you do not recognize? The first step in rewriting your script is acceptance. Acceptance is not surrender. It is the acknowledgement that the plot has shifted and that your power lies not in resisting the change, but in navigating it. This does not happen overnight. It begins with small realizations that your past choices are lessons, not prisons. That failure is not the end, but a chapter leading to unforeseen revelations. That the people who leave or betray you are not villains, but catalysts for growth. Acceptance does not erase fear. It does not eliminate uncertainty. It simply clears the mind enough to see possibilities, to find that first sentence on the blank page. And then comes courage. The kind of courage that feels heavier than the heaviest stone. Because rewriting destiny is not about penning a happy ending. It is about writing truthfully, about confronting the parts of yourself that you have denied, neglected, or feared. It is the courage to write when your heart is breaking, to speak when your voice trembles, to act when every instinct screams for stillness. Courage transforms the blank page from a void into a canvas. It teaches that the story is not about the hand you were dealt, but about how you play it. Every choice becomes a line, every decision a paragraph, every failure a plot twist that leads somewhere unexpected. The process is not linear. Chaos will intrude. Doubt will visit as frequently as old friends. Old scripts, written with the ink of habit, expectation, and fear, will tempt you to revert, to follow familiar paths that lead nowhere. But the act of rewriting demands persistence, a steady hand, and a refusal to yield. It demands that you trust the unseen forces of destiny while keeping your own heart as the compass. It is in this tension between the unknown and the choices you make that the new narrative is born. Slowly, the character you are meant to become emerges from the shadows of the old self. Resilience becomes your greatest ally. Each line rewritten, each scene reimagined, builds strength. You learn to bend without breaking, to pivot without fear, to keep writing even when the ink runs dry. Life may force tragedies, heartbreaks, betrayals, and setbacks, but with every paragraph completed, the story gains depth, meaning, and authenticity. You discover that endings are not fixed, that plots can twist in ways unimaginable, and that the true magic of life lies in the improvisation, the rewriting, the courage to hold the pen and continue even when the next line terrifies you, and finally, liberation comes not from control over destiny, but from mastery over yourself. The rewritten script does not promise perfection, nor a flawless journey. It promises truth, resilience, and presence. It transforms fear into fuel, despair into determination, and uncertainty into infinite potential. Every challenge becomes a plot point, every heartbreak a subplot, every triumph a symbol of the soul's endurance. When you look back, you realize that destiny was never fixed. It was always a dialogue, a co-creation between the forces outside you and the strength within you. And in that realization, you hold both the pen and the power. The lesson of unwritten destinies is profound. Life will not wait for permission. Life will not honor the scripts you meticulously crafted. It will intervene, disrupt, and demand that you improvise. And only those who dare to pick up the pen, face the blank page with courage, and rewrite their story will discover the extraordinary, chapters that lie beyond the familiar lines. Because the most powerful, stories are not the ones that follow a plan. They are the ones that are rewritten in defiance of expectation, forged in the fires of uncertainty, and guided by the unwavering hand of the one brave enough to write them. Yet, the rewriting is not without pain. Each erased line, each discarded scene carries with it a sting, a whisper of what might have been. Memories clash with the present, expectations collide with reality, and the heart aches in the space between what was imagined and what must be created anew. But pain, paradoxically, becomes the ink. It is in these wounds that the most authentic sentences are written. Where once hesitation ruled, clarity begins to emerge. Every scar, every faltering step is not a reminder of weakness, but evidence of a life that refuses to conform to certainty. The rewritten script is raw, jagged, imperfect, but it is alive. Reflection becomes a companion. In solitude, the mind sifts through the debris of former plans, examining motives, desires, and truths long ignored. Questions arise. Who am I without the roles assigned to me? What do I value when the applause no longer matters? Which choices reflect my essence, and which were shadows of someone else's expectations? These questions are not burdens, they are keys. Each reflection opens doors to understanding, revealing the architecture of the new narrative that life is quietly asking you to build. In these quiet moments, the soul becomes the architect, and destiny slowly listens. The people who enter or exit your story become teachers. Some appear as guides, offering insight or courage. Others depart abruptly, leaving voids that test your resolve. Even betrayal, heartbreak, and loss serve a purpose. They force you to discover the strength you never knew you had, to articulate the story you must tell without relying on familiar scripts. The rewritten life demands that you embrace both gifts and losses, understanding that every character, every encounter, is part of a tapestry far larger than a single scene. And in weaving these threads together, you begin to see a pattern. Resilience, courage, and authenticity forming the backbone of the story you are now destined to tell. Action becomes your language. You can no longer wait for the perfect sentence or the ideal moment. You write with trembling hands, with uncertainty as your ink, and with determination as your pen. You experiment, you stumble, you revise, and each effort, no matter how small, reshapes the narrative. What was once frightening, the unknown, the blank page, the uncertainty, becomes a space of creation, a field where potential is endless. Every paragraph you fill strengthens your voice, sharpens your vision, and asserts that you are the author, not merely a character subjected to circumstance. And finally, mastery is realized not in perfection but in presence. You understand that life's power is not in the events themselves, but in how you respond, in how you continue to write when fear whispers, when doubt clouds, when the world seems indifferent. The story is no longer a script handed down by expectation. It is a living, breathing testament to the courage of the human spirit. Freedom is not granted, it is claimed through persistence, through honesty, and through the relentless act of continuing the narrative when all else seems lost. In the end, unwritten destinies remind us that life is not a sequence to follow, but a canvas to create. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every unforeseen twist is an opportunity to write with purpose, to craft a story that is both authentic and extraordinary. The final truth becomes clear. Those who dare to rewrite, who confront the blank page with courage, who embrace chaos as part of creation, discover not just a story, they discover themselves. And in that discovery, they find a power far greater than any plot ever assigned, a life far richer than any ending imagined. The heart learns resilience in real time. As chapters unfold unpredictably, you begin to trust in the rhythm of life itself. Moments of despair, heartbreak, or confusion no longer paralyze. You navigate them, sometimes blindly, sometimes with fierce awareness. Each choice, no matter how small, builds momentum. Every sentence you commit to the page is a brick in the foundation of a life consciously authored. You learn that destiny does not follow linear rules. It bends, twists, and adapts to those who refuse to remain passive spectators. Connection becomes a hidden ally. As you rewrite, you notice the presence of kindred spirits, mentors, or strangers whose unexpected words or actions leave indelible marks. Some guide you subtly, others force reflection through absence. Each encounter is a lesson, each departure a challenge to your resolve. You understand that even when the story seems solely yours to write, life conspires to provide inspiration, friction, and guidance. The plot is never truly solitary. The tapestry of destiny is woven through interaction, awareness, and the courage to respond rather than react. And finally, a quiet triumph emerges. The rewritten script may still hold imperfections, pauses, and unexpected turns, but it radiates authenticity. It bears the fingerprints of persistence, courage, and relentless determination. You see now that true mastery is not in avoiding chaos, but in dancing with it, in shaping it into a story that resonates with truth and purpose. Unwritten destinies are not obstacles.